Hello, Dr. McLean here. Today I want to talk to you about some natural treatments for rheumatoid arthritis and even regular arthritis. Some different foods and supplements that you can implement into your daily diet so that you can start to bring inflammation down, start to feel better. And you know, with rheumatoid arthritis, a lot of times you're not feeling good, you're having fatigue, and you don't want to move. You don't feel good, your joints hurt, you don't want to move. Unless you move, the more inflammation it creates, the more your energy goes down. So if we can start to do some food, some supplements, some really simple things to start to bring that inflammation down, it's going to start to help you feel better. You're going to want to start to move more, and it's going to create this positive cycle going up. Now, rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disorder. And what you may or may not know, that is when our immune system attacks our own tissues, in this case, the joints. Now, the two biggest common factors I see with all the research across the board is the two biggest areas that affect autoimmune disorders are number one, the gut, and number two, the adrenals, or our stress hormones or cortisol levels. Now, this doesn't have to be 100% of the time, but it looks like it's very, very common based on the research. So we're going to focus particularly on the gut. I have some other videos on the adrenals and things like that. If you have questions on how to lower cortisol, how to heal your adrenals, check out some of our other videos on our page. But today we're going to really focus on the gut and bringing that inflammation down. So your foods, the foods and supplements you want to be things that are going to bring inflammation down, that are anti-inflammatory. So one of the first things you want to look at is high foods that are high in omega-3 fatty acids. And so those are things like wild-caught fish and grass-fed beef and wild game. So you want to be real particular about this. So organic meat is not necessarily grass-fed. So the big difference with this, when you hear grass-fed, why is that so popular? Well, when we feed cattle grains, for example, it changes the fatty acid makeup in their ratio, the ratio of the fatty acid makeup in their tissues from the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, and basically makes it pro-inflammatory versus anti-inflammatory. So when we feed them grass, where they're fully grass-fed, not grain-finished, but fully grass-fed, those meats are actually healing, they bring inflammation down. So you hear all this negative research on how bad red meat is for us. Well, that's done on these grain-fed meats. So you want to get a grass-fed source, right? Now, I'll talk about supplements at the end. That's a great way to do it as well. But wild-caught fish, you do have to be a little bit cautious because, again, you can get higher levels of mercury in that fish, so you can't overdo the fish. But those are some great sources. So high omega-3 fats. Chia seeds and flax seeds are another way to do it. So I put chia seeds in my shakes all the time, or you can sprinkle them on your salads. That's a really easy thing to do because it doesn't take any extra effort. You don't even taste it. You don't even know that they're there, but it's going to help bring your inflammation down. Next one, which has really, really been popular here lately, is bone broth or bone broth protein. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. I actually have a bone broth protein shake, protein powder shake that I drink. That's been really good for me. I really enjoyed that. But ideally, you make your own bone broth and get it from a pure source as well, or solely from that. Now, if you do make your own, you want to make sure you're getting your bones from grass-fed sources, just like we talked about earlier, 100% natural sources. If you buy it, you can buy bone broth as well. You do want to be a little bit cautious, again, because they put things in there, additives, things like MSG. So you do want to make sure if you do buy it that it's a pure source. Make sure you're really reading the ingredients on there. But it contains things like collagen and proline and glycine, which are very healing to that gut. And if you know anything about the gut, when we have what's called leaky gut disorders, when the gaps in the gut lining get too big and allow things to pass through, which really messes with their immune system. So we want to try to help heal those gaps, okay? So the next things we're going to look at are things that are high in sulfur, foods that are high in sulfur. And sulfur helps bring down inflammation, helps actually rebuild the joints as well. So especially if you've got degeneration, damage to the joint already, you want to do these higher sulfur foods. So things like kale and tomato and onions. And I love to have a salad. So I used to not be big on salads. I love salads now. And this is a great way if you're trying to improve your nutrition. Just add a salad to whatever you're eating. Even if you're eating pizza or something unhealthy, have a salad either first or along with it. It's a great way to sneak these healthy things in. So I'm not a huge fan of onions, but I'll put onions on my salad just to get those higher sulfur foods in. Onions are also a prebiotic, which is really helpful for the gut as well. So higher sulfur containing foods. And then the other thing is just looking at lots more fruits and vegetables. You have to be a little bit cautious on the fruits because we can overdo fruits, but you really can't overdo vegetables. But fruits and vegetables are filled with enzymes and anti-inflammatory properties. Ideally, get those raw. Doesn't mean everything has to be raw, but do some raw vegetables because cooking can damage those enzymes and a little bit harder for our body to process. We also lose some of the nutrients anytime we cook food. So doesn't mean you have to eat everything raw, but more on the raw side, the better, especially with vegetables. So next I'm going to talk about is supplements. And I'm a big proponent of supplements. Ideally, we should get all of our nutrition from our food sources, from our environment, but the reality is that's very challenging today for most people. And what the research is showing, even if you are eating a good plan, a good nutrition plan, a good diet, so to speak, our soil has been depleted. So even good vegetables that you're getting don't have the same nutrients that they did years ago. So I am a big fan of supplements if you are choosing the right supplements. You want to make sure it's a higher quality supplements. Sometimes you see this research showing, this particular, taking a multivitamin doesn't make any difference. Taking a glucosamine supplement doesn't make any difference. And a lot of times those studies are based on very low quality supplements. So I notice a difference when I take these supplements. If I run out or I forget to take them, I notice a difference. Now, even if that's just psychological, I know that it's working for me. So I'm a big proponent of supplements. Not to replace lifestyle. You can't just take supplements and not make lifestyle changes. So a few things we can do to really help bring inflammation down. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but we'll focus on just a few things. Number one is an omega-3 supplement. So I love PR Labs products. They have one called EPA DHA Marine Liquid. This is a really good one. Based on what I've seen, both are good as far as a gel tab or a liquid. What I've seen, liquid seems to be a little bit more easy to digest. I don't get the reflux. Some people talk about getting that fishy burp reflux. I've never gotten that, especially with this supplement. So that's a good one to do. Really easy to do. Again, just pour a little bit in a glass and drink it. It's done. So the next thing is turmeric. You probably have heard a lot about this. Turmeric, depending on how you pronounce it. Again, very anti-inflammatory. This is something you can get in a supplement form, or you can kind of sprinkle it on your foods. I like to do a supplement just to back that up, to bring that inflammation down. Another thing is proteolytic enzymes. We know we have damage to the gut, it's harder to absorb these foods. So if we have these proteolytic enzymes, it helps with the digestion and breakdown of foods. So those are a good supplement to do as well. And then glucosamine sulfate. So this is a sulfur-containing property. Really, again, helps bring down the inflammation in the joints. And a lot of people report some really great benefits to taking this as well. And then other MSM or sulfur-containing supplements are also going to help bring that inflammation down. So you think about this, overall, your food should be anti-inflammatory in properties. I'll shoot another video on how we can avoid certain inflammatory foods and what we should avoid on that. But start with just thinking anti-inflammatory, high fatty foods. The other thing I'll tell you too is a lot of people are fearful of getting higher fats into their diet. This is the way that I used to be, but we need fat to burn fat. We need fat to build our hormones, which are going to help us heal. So you want to get some good fatty sources, good fat sources into your body. And if you have questions on this, please let me know. Comment below. I'll do my best to answer those for you. And if you're enjoying this, please subscribe to this page so we can continue to deliver you just awesome information on healing your immune system and reversing these autoimmune disorders.